Hello and welcome back to our Revit Architecture 2009 CAD clips on our custom architectural beam. Hopefully you learned something in the last few lessons, and what better way to close off our series with a little bit of information on materials and rendering. We're going to start by going to Settings and Materials, because we know that our materials are being controlled by a parameter which we set up in our family. I'm just going to go to our Materials dialog box, and I've been using this wood beam material, but let's assume you don't have that. I'm just going to start by going wood dimensional lumber, and I'm going to say duplicate, and you can do this yourself. Duplicate, and I can call this, wood, maybe glulam or something like that. Glulam, wood glulam material. Name it whatever you want. It's going to duplicate the properties from this original material that you used, and then hit OK. So it kind of clones that original material. And I see there's already a glue laminated one here, but this is our glulam. And from inside of there, we're going to go to our good old rendered appearance. And inside of there, we can go, well, we don't want to use that. We're going to hit replace. And in our wonderful rendered appearance library, we've got all kinds of materials, and it's just slowly working its way through here because my recording software is going. It's taking a little while to populate that. I'm going to filter this through and just say, show me the wood class materials. So there's all kinds of hardwood flooring, and you can use whatever. Just because it says it's flooring doesn't mean you can't use it for a beam or something. So the idea here is find a material, a rendered material that's close to what you want. Maybe you can pick this one, cherry flooring. I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. Have your choice. Okay, and you might not even use a wood material. You could go into miscellaneous or something like that. Pick any type of material, or you can just use all. So back to our wood materials. Go in here and pick something that's close to what you want. Now, sometimes it looks like the grain is going the wrong way, so we can also fix that. I can go in here and say, well, this birch, wood birch looks kind of good. I like that rendered material, and hit OK. That looks good. The only thing is, for a beam, I don't want my grain to go this way. I want my grain to be going horizontal. So I'm going to go down in here and say rotate this by 90 degrees, and then click anywhere, and it's going to say update the preview, update that preview. Okay. You can also change this to, show a different type of scene if you want. Right now it's showing it as kind of a square. We can also click on this scene here, and we can change it to, say, a sphere, or different types of, maybe you want to see the corner of a building, or, showing this preview on a different, you can say, show me that on a sphere. Well, not really a good idea, but just for your own purpose, you can change that. Not that we would have a spherical shaped beam or anything, but it will give you a different preview inside of here. So that's your choice. You can change the scale of the rendered material inside of here by clicking on in here if you want. Okay. You can also go down here and say, the stain, you can say stain none, or you can actually pick a color for the stain and go in here and go into your Pantone colors and pick a different stain color off of here somewhere down where the browns are. You can pick a different stain color inside of here. Hit OK on that. It's up to you. Okay. You can turn on some different properties over here. Once you get this looking the way you want, okay, and again, this is the scale of it over here. If you make this number bigger, then the grain will get larger, and if you make it smaller, etc. So that all looks good. So we've got our material, and then under graphics, I can say, well, when I'm not rendering it, I want the shaded view to appear similar to my rendered view. So just when it switches back here to graphics, I can say use rendered appearance for shading. So I can pick on here, or I could have just picked a color button here and went and picked a color. So when non-rendered and I say shade the view, do I want to pick a color, or do I want to try to represent what the closest it can to the rendered appearance? Surface patterns you can select, cut patterns inside of here, that's up to you. Now we've made that material wood glulam material, hit OK. Okay, click out. Now that I've made that material, I can pick on my beam because I've made my parameter ahead of time, and I can go beam material is, wood glue laminated. Hit OK and OK, and then it's done. Now I can go into here and I can shade any one of these views. Okay, looks good. And now for the rendering. So we say, okay, well, I want a kind of a cool 3D perspective view that, looks kind of like this. For whatever reason, who knows? Okay, just kind of having some fun with it now. So I say, okay, that's what we want to do. I close off that particular rendered view. I need to have a perspective view. So I'm going to go down to my level 1, okay, which is actually over here, and I'm going to create a camera view. So I say, okay, go to my view tab on my design bar and create a camera, or we can go up here and say view, new camera. It's up to you. Okay, camera view looking kind of like that. Boom. So it's going to show me a 3D view of my beam. So, oh, and why is it not seeing it? I'm not really sure. Let's click inside of here. Okay. And let's switch to be wireframe. Let's see why the camera, obviously the beam is not within the camera view, and that is because I'll tell you, that's because the camera view is looking up and this beam is down at level 1. So technically the problem is that the beam is not within the view of that camera. So what we have to do now here is we have to fix that. So the view it made here, by the way, was 3D view 2. When I made that camera, I can go, if I'm in here, watch what I can do. I can, while I'm in this plan view, I can right click this camera view and say show camera. It's going to show me where that camera is. And the problem is that camera is looking up above the beam. It's technically not showing the beam because the beam isn't in the view of the camera, because the beam's at the floor level and the target and camera position is by default 5'6" above that. So what we can do is go to our 3D view here and watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to click inside here and use a shift middle mouse button and pan, and then I can zoom out, shift middle mouse button, and then I can actually pan that beam into view. Okay, clicking on here, and I can now rotate that around. So shift middle mouse button was the key to getting that beam into view. Now what I have to do is pick on my beam, turn on my visibilities here, hitting OK, done. Okay, and now I can, I believe if I render it, it's not going to show me that line anyway, but just in case, okay, and I want to get a little nicer view inside of here, okay, little view, I'm going to use my line work tool and say line work invisible lines, just like I've been doing, and I'm going to invisible that one and this guy, and invisible that guy, that guy. There, I've got it. Oh, I need to do this guy too. Maybe after you render it, you'll discover you don't have to do that. Because they're the same material, the rendering may very well get rid of those seam lines. So I can zoom out, do what I want, escape, escape. Okay, and hit modify on here. Now I can pick on here and then do a shift middle mouse, kind of get that the way I want. And now I'm ready to do my rendering. So I say, okay, go to my rendering tab over here. If you don't see it, right click and turn on rendering. Okay, and then I hit the rendering dialog box. Go over to here and I say, well, I'm going to do a draft rendering, or, I'm actually going to do high quality rendering. Okay, and I'm going to say exterior sun only. I'm going to say sun with artificial lighting. Sun from the top right is fine, and then I want some clouds in the background, so I'm going to say sky is very cloudy. Okay, haze you can turn up or down. I'm going to leave it clear. Okay, and then I'm ready to render. I could also do a regional if I want to just kind of adjust it and do a little piece of it at one time, but I'm going to take a chance and just hit rendering, and then I'm going to pause my recording and come back once the rendering is done. And there we go, not too bad. Okay, now the last thing I want to do is maybe adjust this. It looks a little bit dark, and this is the new Mental Ray features, which are really nice. And I'm going to go into image here and say adjust the exposure on that. And all I'm going to do is go over here, and I'm just going to turn my brightness up a little bit. You don't want to go too much. And then hit apply. Kind of brightens that up. Oh, maybe a little bit too much. Bring that down a bit. Hit apply on there. Hit OK. And then now if I want to retain this rendered image so I can export it or use it and, print it or save it basically, I need to say save to project. And it says save to project, and I'll just call this, rendered beam. Oh, backspace. And my keyboard is kind of dumbing out on me right now. Slowing down, I think, with my recording software. I'm just going to accept the name here. I should be able to type in here, but its keyboard's not really responding. So I'm going to hit OK and leave it under that name, which is fine. And now I can go back anytime and say show the model or show the rendering. I can close off my rendering dialog box, and now under my rendering tab here in my project browser, I can go double click on here anytime, and it's going to show me that rendered view. And from inside of there, I can cut and paste that, or do whatever I want. I can go down and say file export, or I can double click on here, right click, and there's different ways of capturing that, but I now have that in there under rendering. If I go to the 3D view, that is, which is here, okay, and I go to rendering, I can say export, okay, show the rendering, and I can say export that rendering to a JPEG or PNG or BMP file, okay, so you can export it from within there. You can't, when you're in the actual rendered view over here, you can't pick the rendered dialog box, but if you go to the 3D view it was rendered from, 3D view 2, then you can go back into the rendering and say show the rendering, export it, save it again to the project. You can still go in and adjust some of your exposures and all kinds of neat stuff. So I've had a lot of fun creating this set of CAD clips. I hope you had as much fun learning about it. Take care and tune in for more CAD clips.